Yes, it's really happening. YouTube boxer Jake Paul is stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua. Yes, the Anthony Joshua, Olympic gold medalist, former unified heavyweight champion, one of the most explosive punchers in the sport, a calculated, disciplined destroyer with genuine knockout power.
Joshua can dispose the MMA champion!
And no, this isn't just some exhibition. This is a professionally sanctioned fight. No celebrity boxing safety net, no hidden no knockout clauses, and no behind the scenes gentle sparring limitations. Those kind of stipulations won't be in effect here. Joshua has absolutely zero reasons to hold back, which makes this matchup every bit as dangerous as it looks. Joshua isn't retired. He's still an active elite contender. He's targeting a major fight in early 2026 with a potential mega fight against Tyson Fury still in play. He can't afford to look vulnerable. He can't give away rounds, and he absolutely can't risk being hurt. He has to look sharp, dominant, punch, perfect. Anything less risks reopening doubts about his legitimacy, raising questions he can't afford at this stage of his career. So why would someone like Jake Paul, known for his careful, calculated matchmaking, choose a fight where every possible advantage belongs to his opponent? Jake Paul doesn't take fights without leverage. He's always looking for an edge, a weakness to exploit. Age, size, inexperience. But here, against Anthony Joshua, there's nothing exploitable about this fight. Every single measurable factor, skill, experience, power, everything leans towards Joshua. On paper, Jake Paul has almost no realistic path to victory. And the brutally honest truth, he probably doesn't. So, why is a fight this obviously mismatched even happening? I mean, you don't need to be a boxing analyst to see just how ridiculously outclassed Jake Paul is here. The jump from Tank Davis, who's 5'5", fights at 135 pounds, and who I believe still would have beaten Jake Paul purely on skill, despite the physical disadvantages, to someone like Anthony Joshua is just insane. With Tank, Jake at least had something: size, reach, and weight. That was the entire intrigue. But here, against Anthony Joshua, there is no built-in advantage. There is no equalizer. Joshua is bigger, stronger, more experienced, and hits harder than anyone Jake has ever fought before. He's walking into this with zero measurable edges. And yet, that's exactly why this fight makes sense. Because in Jake Paul's mind, he has absolutely nothing to lose. If he gets blown out, if he can't land a punch, if he gets knocked out and the fight ends in under a round, that's not a shock. That's the exact expectation. The worst possible outcome is already the assumed narrative. He can't disappoint because nobody is expecting him to succeed. Jake wins just by stepping into the ring. In fact, if he even manages to survive just a few rounds, if he lands a clean shot, if he makes this fight look even remotely competitive, that's a massive overachievement. That becomes the big talking point. The expectation for his performance is so non-existent, the bar is so low that Jake having any success becomes a major win, even in a loss. This time, the fight is so wildly against him that he earns respect not by winning, but by simply accepting it. That's the key difference between this and every other fight from before. Jake has shifted from trying to earn respect through achievement, through winning, to earning it through sheer bravery. Then, there's Joshua. After that devastating loss to Daniel Dubois, he needs an easy warm-up fight. Something to get him back into the rhythm of competition without throwing himself straight into the lion's den. He needs someone he can confidently beat before returning to elite competition. But why pick a low-ranked heavyweight with no name value? Why take a risk against a hungry contender for a tiny payday in a fight nobody watches? Jake Paul gives him everything: a safe comeback opponent, a gigantic purse, and a massive event with global attention. For Joshua, this is the perfect scenario: an easy warm-up fight that pays like a mega fight. Jake gets legacy by daring to be great. Joshua gets an easy payday. Both men walk away clear winners, even if only one of them survives the first round. But the big question now is simple. Is there any scenario where Jake Paul survives all 8 rounds? Or even crazier, is there a world where he actually hurts Joshua? Truth is, probably not. As much as Jake Paul has improved, he's still a complete boxing novice compared to someone like Anthony Joshua. Any decent skills Jake has developed are just that: decent. They look impressive only because of his limited competition. Put those same skills next to an Olympic gold medalist and 2-time heavyweight champion, and suddenly they look like amateur hour. The main narrative you see floating around is that Jake hits hard. Joshua's chin isn't what it used to be. Maybe Jake can land a fluke, once-in-a-lifetime overhand that flatlines him. It sounds exciting until you ask the most obvious question. Who has Jake Paul actually knocked out? Mostly non-boxers, opponents with no real defensive awareness, footwork, or ring craft. Naturally, against fighters who are available, easy to hit, and who give you every opportunity to load up on big shots, knockdowns and knockouts become readily available. And that's before we even talk about size. Jake has had a significant physical advantage in almost every fight he's been in. Bigger, heavier, longer. Now, the roles are reversed. He's fighting an elite heavyweight who is not only more skilled, but also bigger, stronger, and more explosive than anyone Jake has ever shared the ring with. If Jake Paul couldn't stop fighters like Tommy Fury, Chavez Jr., or even a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, in what universe is he going to hurt Anthony Joshua? But if we're talking about what theoretically gives him the best chance, or what weaknesses Joshua has actually shown, there are a few tactical angles Jake could try to exploit. While yes, Jake is the smaller fighter, that can actually be an advantage if used correctly. He may find himself the faster fighter with quicker feet. Joshua has struggled with shorter opponents who refuse to give him room to breathe. Fighters who stay on top of him, constantly throwing fast combinations. Recently, Joshua has leaned into a polished counter-striking style, one that thrives at a slower, controlled pace where he can read and time his opponents. It's pretty obvious that Joshua doesn't enjoy dealing with heavy pressure, fast combinations, or fighters who work inside the pocket. He'd much rather keep you at mid-range, pick his moments, and time his counters. While it's definitely dangerous, Jake might just find success by staying low, crowding the space, and focusing on bodywork instead of headhunting. Joshua is also coming off a devastating loss, and he may need a few rounds to settle back in. Jake can't let that happen. He has to push forward, be messy, be unpredictable, and force a constant pace where Joshua never gets comfortable. With the fight being only 8 rounds, Jake doesn't need to worry about conserving his energy. He can afford to be active early. And realistically, Joshua isn't exactly a defensive specialist. His defensive footwork can be slow and plodding. He often can back up in straight lines, and in his most recent fight, he had a surprisingly loose guard, especially with the lead hand. That leaves a wide open lane for Jake's best weapon, the overhand right. Here's the bottom line. Jake's route to victory is extremely narrow. It's either a fluke early knockout, a world in which Joshua's chin has completely deteriorated and his skills have slipped more than we thought, or somehow stealing rounds through smart pressure, bodywork, and awkward, unpredictable movement while avoiding big counters. Realistically though, I just don't think there's any real chance Jake wins this, or even makes it to a decision here. But I do think he can move, survive in spots, and maybe even have moments if he sticks to the right approach. If he stays mobile and even outright runs at times, I can see him surviving the early rounds before eventually getting stopped in the second or third. And honestly, considering how massively outclassed he is here, Jake deserves all the respect just for simply making the walk. And if he has moments, if he makes this even halfway competitive, people might need to seriously reevaluate just how good Jake Paul actually is.